Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I'll be very brief. I can't go live for a long time because I'm using my other gadget, but thank you. If you're going to watch this on repeat, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. I'll be going live probably later or tomorrow, okay? Just have a hectic week. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, karibu sana Principal Kaoru. Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you. I just wanted to touch on this whole, as you know, if you've been listening to news, the people, some of the young men and men, were released by their abductors in different places. Some of them, Kibet, I think, was in Vihiga, and so forth, so forth. Some of them in, I don't know where, different parts of the country. And I must say that my heart goes out to the family members. I hope their parents find some level of closure and are doing okay. But here's the thing, though. I still have my questions. Again, this is a nice gesture. I know majority of the people might be saying that this is a good thing. The government has caved in due to public pressure. I would not go as far as saying that, but this is what I will say, that I would like to hold my view on this whole abduction thing until we have more questions answered. I would like to hear more from Kibet. I would like to hear more from other abductees, okay? Um, right, as Principal Kaur have said there, yes, it's nice that they're out, but that does not mean that all is well. We don't know what happened to them, okay? Um, and like I said, I I know probably if they were tortured or something happened to them, they're traumatized or whatever the case is, I respect their space if that's what they're asking for as of right now, because when you come from something as traumatic as that, you might want to get yourself together before you can feel comfortable to address the public. But with that said, I would like to hear from these young men and women who are abducted. I want to hear about what were the circumstances surrounding their abduction. What happened? What led to the abduction? And while they were in captive, what did their captors, what did the people who are holding them hostage, the people who abducted them, what did they demand from them? What did they want from them? What were the reason why they were abducted? That's what I would like to know. Is it true that the government was behind this? Or is it some people who are kind of having this whole thing done to make the government look bad? I want to find out. I want to find out. I want to hear more from these young men. I hope they have time to heal if they're still dealing with the trauma. And in due time, maybe they can, have a sit down with, I don't know, whoever, whether it's the mainstream media or one of these podcasts, they can sit down and really explain about the whole ordeal. And, so Kenyans can get kind of a glimpse of what really went on and why they got abducted, if at all they know why that happened. So I will just hold my horses right now. I can just say that I'm glad, I'm happy for the parents too, that, have their family members back. So I won't say much about this. I want to be quick to, judge or, come up to a conclusion. I'll just wait and see and hear more about these abductees once they have a really nice interview and just, sit down and explain to Kenyans what happened, okay? Shi Mariam nakuona hapo, karibu sana, nice seeing you, nice seeing you, nice seeing you. What else is happening in Kenya, ladies and gentlemen? One more interesting thing that I saw. Ah, I guess there's a South African journalist who challenged Raila Odinga by questioning Raila Odinga's candidature by, posing this question: why should we vote for you if you're in a country or if you are being supported by a government that's abducting its own uh many more are held, yes, its own citizen? I think that was a very good question for the South African uh media personality to ask. Why should people trust Raila Odinga if he's in bed with a head of state who, through his direction, has been, abducting his own citizens that are speaking against his oppressive government? I think that's a really fair question for Raila Odinga. I know a lot of pro Raila supporters, or whatever the case, bloggers and vloggers have been on this PR gear, and they've been trying to post a picture or as these video clips of Raila Odinga, you know, saying that he is against the abduction and is urging the president to stop these abductions and all sorts of things. That's their response. But I think the question still stands, because the thing is this, though. This is the thing. This is the tricky part with this, and this is why that question is a very loaded question. Okay, Raila Odinga wouldn't be would it not be prudent for him to disassociate himself with Ruto if he truly wanted to uh, continue with this AUC thing? Now, I know Ruto, he still needs, Ruto basically, he's Ruto's little puppet right now, because he needs Ruto to vote for him, and Ruto basically has to put his name out there as the AUC candidate, sorry. So I understand that part. But here is the thing with this. Raila did not just, it wasn't just Ruto forwarding Raila's name as an AUC candidate. Raila offered his so-called experts, in quotes, okay, his experts, to join and help this government. That was his statement, not mine. Listen to me very carefully. There's a difference here. It will be one thing if Ruto just picked Raila, saying, okay, forwarded Raila's name as the AUC candidate because, the state has to do that. But it's another thing if Raila takes it a step further and decides to offer his so-called experts to join this oppressive government, this government that's known for abduction and killings and all sorts of stuff, to offer him your experts to help them stay in power. You see how diabolical that move was? And it's actually not advantageous to Raila. That is something that people should highlight. It's one thing for Raila to say that I told the president to stop the abductions. I told Ruto that we should stop the abductions. I don't support abductions. But it's another thing if you, as the AUC candidate, offered up your experts to support a regime that is very unpopular with the people due to the human rights violations that it has constantly, repeatedly violated. You understand? So Raila accepting that, not only accepting that, but going out of his way to support this regime, to make sure that it survived while the people revolted against this regime, it really shows that Raila is not genuine when he says he wants the abductions to stop, because the people of Kenya have, by in large numbers, rejected this regime, protested against Ruto's regime, have talked about the poor economic conditions, gross human rights violations, okay? Corruption, rampant corruption, lawlessness. You know, the abrasive nature in which this regime is breaking the law, tearing off the constitution, not caring. But here is this AUC candidate coming out and saying that he not only giving support to this oppressive criminal Kenyan regime led by William Samoei Ruto, he is even going a step further to offer his support by giving him his panel of experts to join in the corruption, to join in the human violation, to join in the lawlessness that is associated with this regime. That is the question that majority of these journalists should be asking. I see you, Shi Mariam. Karibu sana. I see you there. Karibu sana. So I was very happy when I saw that. I actually saw it on X. I don't know if that journalist directly answered Raila Odinga or it was just a post that was posted. But I would have loved when I think it was Joe Ageo or I don't know who it was who sat with Raila in that 30 minutes of meaningless sit-down interview. They should have asked these sorts of questions to Raila Odinga. It's one thing to say that you reject abductions, but it's another thing to support a regime that has been rejected by the people, have violated human rights, has violated the law, total disregard for the rule of law and order, abducting its own citizens. You understand? So this, it's not enough for you as the Mio vloggers who are trying to show us clips of Raila Odinga telling us that he's against abductions. Anybody can say that he's against abductions. Even Ruto himself can claim that he's against abductions while he's abducting the young folks. Shi Mariam is saying, nasikia Ruto and Baba are trying to bribe Mahmoud to withdraw. Nani amesikia hilo? Sijasikia hilo. Maybe that will be interesting. That will be very interesting. Very interesting. But that's the thing. So as you can see, pressure bursts pipes. If indeed the pressure from the Wananchi has made Ruto to release these young folks. And I would urge for those of you who are going to listen, who are involved, actively involved in political activism, and I don't mean the commercial ones like the Hanifas and Moraras and the Boniface Mwangis. I mean the real people who are involved in this movement. Okay? Do not stop there. Do not stop there. We want the next thing in the agenda is not only abduction. We shall continue with the abduction. As my sister Shi Mariam has told us, there are many more who are still being held in captivity. So we should keep on, maandamano iendelee kila siku. The corrupt nature of this regime, that should be addressed. The lawlessness, the unconstitutional proceedings and procedures that Ruto uses to exercise executive powers. Illegally, that is. Yes, Rosa reminds us in the book of Proverbs says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people mourn. Absolutely. Ruto government need to release the Kenyan hostages. Abso-freaking-lutely. So that's where we are, Kenyans. We received the news of those young folks released as good news, but again, like I said, I will be waiting before I start rejoicing. I want to wait and see. I want to get to the bottom of this news and see what really we want to investigate how these young folks were abducted, who abducted them, and why were they abducted, and what happened while they were in captivity. Were they tortured? Hopefully they'll reveal to us so that we can have an idea of what is happening. Now, another news that's been making rounds in Kenya is about Ichung'wah and Natembeya. Obviously, Ichung'wah, a few days ago in, I think it was, what's his name? The speaker's mom or dad or something who passed on. And it was in a funeral where Ichung'wah, well, Natembeya was the first one to speak, and he was speaking, basically condemning the abductions. Then Ichung'wah came in there and started lit up the place by reminding Natembeya that Natembeya, during Uhuru's regime, you are actually taking part, actively evicting people from Mao Forest. Is it Mao Forest or Mao something? And there's some people who lost their lives in the process. People are displaced. Okay? But to me, here's the thing, and I'll wrap up because I was trying to keep this very short. Natembeya and Ichung'wah are in the same WhatsApp group. I'm not buying this nonsense. Like we've discussed this before. Everyone from the DAPK umbrella, under the DAPK umbrella, is basically working for Uhuru Kenyatta. That is Uhuru's briefcase party. Just like, Raila holds ODM, Uhuru holds DAP Kenya, and the other party, what is it called? Is it TNA or Jubilee? Whatever, Jubilee, yeah. So I think these are shenanigans that are used to fool our Kenyans so we can get excited in the media. I don't see real beef there. They're just reminding it's two boys playing, having a food fight, that is, if I was to actually liken it to something. So I'm not really excited by what's Natembeya. That's why I'm telling you, I've never liked Natembeya since the days when he was working as I don't know what. He looked like an IAP police, whatever, administration police. I don't know what he was, but I don't like Natembeya. He can say Tawe all he wants, even though what he was saying in that speech, in that burial, was actually a reasonable thing to say, but I'm not buying anything that comes from anyone from DAP Kenya or ODM or Azimio or Kenya Kwanza or any of these political criminal organizations, okay? So I'm not buying none of it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Like I say, Mandamano is the only way to get rid of this political class. The people have to exercise their sovereign authority. That is something that we need to understand. Yes, it's wonderful, it's good to go ahead and have these mandamanos against abductions and femicide and all this stuff, but I think we need to target the regime. We need a regime change. Now, Rosa M is saying The abduction started only when the UDA ODM government was formed. Raila is part of it. Absolutely. Raila is most likely, undoubtedly, part of this nonsense, okay? Raila is part of this nonsense. Yes, he is. Okay? So, again, like I was saying, Mandamano is showing to be effective, okay? The more we flood the streets, the more the government gets worried. And as erratic as they are, if they commit atrocities, it catches international media attention, international community gets involved, and the regime will be hit, hopefully will be hit with sanctions, and even, maybe we can have friends. Now, I will make a video about how we can remove Ruto. And one of the ways I wanted to just highlight was we need external friends. And when I say external friends, I don't mean the NATO, likes of NATO and the Western governments. Okay, no. We can have other external forces that can help us remove Ruto. But that's a story. That's a topic for another day. I just wanted to focus on what's going on. Actually, there's this lady who was is said, I forgot, she was an advocate. I forgot her name, who was compiling a case against Ruto to take it to the ICC, and unfortunately, she was reportedly dead a few days ago. And rumors is swirling around saying that she probably got killed because Ruto got a whiff that this lady was compiling evidence to take to ICC for Ruto to face, to be, indicted again the second time. So these are what is happening in Kenya. Like I said, Mandamano is the most effective way of bringing down this regime. But please, 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 there should be a good understanding, a clear understanding that the Mandamano, the theme, the mantra, the goal should be Ruto has to step down, resign. He needs to get out of office. That is the aim. Like I said, it's wonderful to say Ruto must go, or to fight against abduction, to protest against abduction, to protest against corruption, to protest against, for the IEBC to be reconstituted, to protest against all these wonderful things. But the main aim should be Ruto has to step down. All the executive branch of government should step down. All the parliamentarians should step down. That should be the goal of Mandamano. Nothing less, nothing more. People should head to the streets, and that should be the goal. The reason anybody else who comes out to Mandamano with a different agenda is a government operative, okay? That's why I say people like the Hanifas, people like what's his face, Boniface Mwangi, people like Okiom Tata, okay? There's one thing, I'm naturally suspicious. It's my nature. Let's do the math. Again, I know you had this from my previous live, but please help me in this train of thought. Think about this. When Okiom Tata, who has been rumored to be an NIS government Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? All right, somebody's all right. Now I'm good. Now I'm good. All right. Here's what I want to explore. And this is the last thing I want to kind of touch on. And I want you guys to think with me. Let's follow the sequence of events. I started by the day that Okiom Tata was being exposed by Francis Gaitho, Amenya, and Miguna Miguna. Francis Gaitho flat out said that Tata is an NIS operative. Amenya exposed how when he tried to involve Tata to help him with exposing Adani, Tata never returned his call, never picked up, nothing, nada. Miguna raised questions surrounding this disappearance of Kibet and alluded to the fact that Kibet had avoided arrest up until he went and met Okiom Tata. Tata never responded to any of these charges until 48 hours later. Of course, he had to call Amenya very quickly to hash out things because his name on the Twitter sphere was not clean. So hear me out. 48 hours after that, Okiom Tata makes a press conference to tell us about the mandamano that was to happen on that Monday, not this Monday, the previous one. Was it the previous one? Something like that. Was it? Yeah, Monday, the previous Monday. Okay? Then, okay? Because now remember, everyone is suspecting Okiom Tata to be an NIS agent, government agent. So everybody who goes to Mandamano, right? Your Monday comes. The Mandamano is solely focused on Okiom Tata and his people at Aga Khan Street or Aga Khan Avenue, whatever the case is, where they chained themselves on the ground and they were being tear gassed and they were having photos taken of them. Okiom Tata having, you know, $1 million shot, running where the tear gas smoke is all over him. Then we were shown how they were singing wonderful songs in jail cells, singing freedom songs in the courthouse. It was all about Okiom Tata, the person who has been fighting for Kenyans. Okay? The Mandamano, the focus had shifted on the people who were out there, who went to the streets for Quebec to come out. But the focus the story became Okiom Tata and all those people that he was with. And of course, the usual suspects, Martha Karua, Morara, Hanifa, were quick to go to the courtrooms to demand the release of Okiom Tata. Of course, photo ops and all that nonsense. The media was conveniently there to show that. Okay? While the other common Wananchi was not being shown how they were being tear gassed or nothing. It was all about Okiom Tata. For somebody who is unsuspecting, will not think much about it. They'll be like, oh, you know what? That's normal. But question yourself. Ask yourself this question. You know, yes, Okiom Tata has done some stuff before. But in the previous mandamanos of Gen Zs, the finance bill and all that, Okiom Tata was never on the streets. The only public Gen Z event that Okiom Tata attended was that memorial service that was being held at, was it Uhuru Park? When he went and he was called Walimwita kwa stage. You know? But before that, the Gen Zs were in the streets protesting against finance bill, protesting against the death of, you know, the young folks that died and got killed. Okiom Tata was never part of it. But as soon as questions were raised pertaining to his involvement or potential involvement and the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Kibet, and people started to look at Okiya Mtata in a different light, questioning if he's really genuine or is he part of the NIS government being propped up. As soon as those questions are brought up, Okiya Mtata took him 48 hours to respond. And now he was active, being involved in Mandamano. And follow me again in this sequence of thought. So here is the question. People have started looking at him funny. He responds 48 hours, not immediately, 48 hours. And now finally says he's joining the Mandamano, which he hasn't been part of since the Gen Z started. Now, let's not stop there. Okiya Mtata, yesterday, I believe, or the day before, I think he was in Kiambu or whatever the case is, was demanding for the release of, I don't know, his comrades who are still locked up. And all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, a miracle happened. Kibet is released. Kibet is released. Do you see what I'm saying? Okiya Mtata, number one, scenario one, Okiya Mtata is questioned. People are looking at him as somebody who might be working for the government. 48 hours later, Okiya Mtata makes an announcement saying that he will be involved in Mandamano to protest for the release of Kibet and others. Something that he has never been involved in, the Gen Z Mandamano that is. All through this time, he has never been involved, been part of the Mandamano of the Gen Z. But after the accusations of him working with the government, all of a sudden, he's involved. And the Mandamano is all about him. Then a few days after he goes make a lot of noise, Kibet is released. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm being told KK is telling me that he refused to go to the interview today. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have to ask questions. Asking questions is not offensive. Question everybody. Everybody and anyone and everybody. Including yours truly who's talking. You have to ask questions. What are the intention of these people? Who are they? I believe Rosa was quoting the Bible, and the same Bible says something. You shall know them by their fruits. I can tell you this. For the past 2 weeks, Okiya Mtata, in my opinion, has been suspect. I don't trust him. I'm sorry. That's why I'm holding my judgment. I want to hear what Kibet has to say. I saw a snippet of when he was being asked questions a little when he was released. And I want to judge for myself. Looking at his body language. Is he traumatized? Does he look like someone who's gone through something? All of that. Just like Kenyans broke down the body language of Kindiki, who was allegedly slapped by Kibet. I would have shown it here, but I'm using a different gadget. It was obvious that something had happened to Kindiki. The left side of his face, the glasses that he was wearing, his hand movement when he was talking. I actually feel sorry for this man. He seemed like somebody who has been caught up in a criminal mafia gang, and he can't escape because he's in it too deep to get out. His personality is not built to resist, built to stand up for himself. You can tell. Even from his voice, he's full of estrogen. No offense to the women. The guy cannot defend himself. So I know people don't feel sorry for him because he took Gachago's place unconstitutionally. I'm just saying, to me, he looks like someone who was forced to take that position. And that's why they're slapping him around and he can't say no. He can't defend himself. The man is 5 feet tall, 80 pounds, with a sweet, girly voice. He's not intimidating in any way. Gypsy says, most of the Kenyan-based activists are always part of the government, the MPs and even cops. You remember I told you about Okiya Mtata? He's got the same characteristics of Conman Raila. Absolutely. And you know what's sad? You know, in this struggle for good governance, for regime change, for a better Kenya, there are people who look at activism as a source of making money, a hustle. Wanaiangalia ni ka hustle. This is how we can make money. Now, I'm not talking about people who have their YouTube channel and they're doing what I'm doing. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the very people like Gypsy Conaf is telling us here. The Kenyan-based activists who are really out there on the streets. Because here's the thing, and I've noticed this. It's not only in Kenya, but let me just use Kenya. The media, from entertainment to news to everything, the media is pushing this idea that if you have wealth, you are the man. You can only have a say if you have wealth. I was debating a lot of people in other channels, even in Mutembe's years back. They will tell me, how can so-and-so run for president? He has no money. What money does he have? Because the media is pushing this thing that you have to have money, you have to have wealth in order for you to have a voice. So the young folks who are coming to Kenya, they're easily compromised. They speak about the injustice, the poor governance, corruption, and all the stuff that we are talking about. But because they feel like, they need to get rich to be somebody. When Ruto comes and splash the cash, which he has a lot of, courtesy of the Kenyan taxpayers, they're quick to take it. Because they feel like, if I'm driving a Mercedes Benz, if I'm driving an X5, if I'm driving a Lamborghini, if I'm driving the Range Rover, if I'm driving all these wonderful cars and I have a big house, and I'm rubbing shoulders with celebrities, shaking hands with who is who of this world, going to different concerts, shaking hands with Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, getting the VIP treatment when I go out. That is what they look at as thinking that that's what makes you a human being. That's what makes you a man or a woman or somebody successful. Success, they're defining it through material things. That's why there's a hold. A lot of these activists, just like Gypsy have said, a lot of these activists, young, and some of them old, majority of them young, are people who are paid. That's why you see their agenda is never the same as the agenda of the true revolutionaries. They do not fight for what you're fighting for. When you say Ruto must go and he has to go, he has to resign, we have to force him to remove him through peaceful protest, they'll tell you, oh, let us go protest, but let's go protest against climate change. Or let us go protest against IBC. Things that will not revolutionize the system. You understand? That's why there's an ongoing fight right now in the Twitter sphere, X, between Ahmed Nasir, aka Grand Mullah, versus Miguna Miguna. You can see the difference in intellect. Ahmed Nasir cannot hold his own. The only thing he can come back say about Miguna is, oh, you don't have a job, you're living in Canada, you're jobless, you worked for 2 years. Look at me, I'm successful. Because he can go to an Arsenal game, go to Dubai, visit his son in Washington, D.C. that just graduated, and he can go to Doha and Qatar and fly back to Nairobi. All the money that he has made through illegal means. So if you start to debate this man on an issue, he cannot respond. Because he's an empty suit. All he can brag about is the money he has. And that's the problem even in the movement. So many people of these activists that we see on TV are paid, just like Gypsy Corners told us. They're in the pockets of these politicians. Because it's an easy hustle, quickest way of getting rich. Kindiki has been silenced and he is in the next to be kicked out. I feel for him. Some of the abductions were staged. Don't be fooled. Why was the Olive Hotel in Nairobi used as a planning base? Absolutely. That's why I'm saying I'm holding my judgment till I hear the interviews by these abductees that have been released. But that's what I'm saying. It's a hustle. As they call it, commercial activism. People want to make fast cash. You know, because you become an instant celebrity. And, you know, for those who don't ask questions, you know, wanakushangilia. Just imagine, you start this activism, mara moja, Ruto amekupatia milioni 3 hapa, you have a house, you're driving a Beamer or a Benz or whatever the case is, and everywhere you go, you're the man. People are clapping at you. Yeah, you're fighting for us. You're fighting for us. Yeah. And you have, within overnight, you have, I don't know, 100 people followers following you in X. Don't forget his double-gated mini palace in North London suburbs. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. And that's why it's going to be, that's why we have to answer questions. Why do you think Morara is not stopping? Morara is not stopping because he's enjoying everything that a young man who does not think about other people's future is doing. They got him a car, aliwacha hiyo biashara yake ya kuuza sofa. Oh, maybe it's booming now because he has money. He has newfound fame. So he's not leaving, he's not stopping. Hanifa, you just saw Hanifa. They gave him an award. I don't know what award. The influential, I don't know what award. It's easy. It's easy to get these people compromised. And I understand it because Kenya, economically, we are not doing good. Why should I try to go work in a, industrial area while I can do activism, fake activism? Naenda nisimame hapo na bendera ni free kibe, free sijui nani, free nani. And I get my cash. Nijifanye I'm so against Ruto. Ruto must die. Ruto must do nini. Ruto must do... Nipate followers speedy na nipate pesa. That's how they're thinking. They're not thinking, you know what? If we have the right representatives in the legislative body, in the executive, and the right judicial system, we might have a better economy, and everyone as a society shall move up the social economic ladder. I'm not saying there will be no poor people, but I'll say the majority of people shall be doing good. Libya under Gaddafi, there were no beggars in the streets. It can be done. But we don't think that way. We think as individuals. Sifa ni yangu, mimi nataka sifa. I want to be the man. So maandamano ikitoka, I will show up with a casket. So you can see that I am more of an activist than the next person. Na pesa inaingia. Rusha pesa Ruto. See what I'm saying? That's why it's so easy to get these people compromised. And that's what really bothers me. And that's why I keep on saying everyone that pops up everywhere who's claiming to be whatever, we have to ask questions about these people. And don't be fooled by the flash, the cash, and the ass, if I might say. These goons blinded Kenyans. Sorry, we will have them in Kenya. It's all about corrupt veins. Yes, it's a culture. It's a culture that has been embedded in Kenya. It's a culture thing. Shortcut. What on after shortcut? I usually say this. I had somebody say this years back. Laws create a culture. Laws creates a culture. The laws that you have in your land will create a culture. Okay? If you have a law like in China, where if you're found to be corrupt, you'll be hanged. The percentage of corruption in government sector will significantly go down because the laws that are in place, if they are followed, enforced as intended, it will bring down corruption in public sector. But here we are, we have wonderful laws, we have a constitution in place, but nobody cares. The executive doesn't follow it. The parliamentarians who passed it do not even respect it. And most definitely, judiciary does not interpret it. So what do we have? A culture of lawlessness. So people still kill, abduct, murder, and all do this, and they become billionaires overnight, and they become the rulers of the land. And the few people who are springing up trying to change the system, since they are poor and they're being psychologically brainwashed by this idea of wealth, meaning health, wealth making you a whole person, wealth defining you. They're easily compromised to support the very corrupt leaders that we have. Anyway, I didn't mean to preach to you guys. I was here. I just wanted to make a quick video, a short one, because I have to go watch Nottingham Forest versus I don't know who, Wolves. But please share, like, subscribe. I'll have another live probably tomorrow or the next day or whatever the case is. If you're going to watch this on repeat, do the same. Share, like, subscribe, comment, do all the same. Nice seeing you, Kay. Nice seeing you, Gypsy. Nice seeing you, Shimeriam. And others. Pretty Kaur. Haven't forgotten you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and blessings. And stay strong. A luta continua.